Well, I thought we played 3 really good quarters of basketball. We started the game really well. Third quarter was really solid. Started the fourth and did a great job throughout. But the second quarter, I thought, to TCU's credit, they did a great job of hitting the offensive glass and getting to the free throw line. And so I thought our players did a really good job making the adjustment at halftime and carried that throughout the rest of the game.
Coach, along those lines, the first 2 games in Big 12 play, second half has been a little difficult for you guys. The last 2 games, really putting teams away. Is there a mental difference? Is there a comfort level?
Understanding of what it needs to look like throughout, and what discipline, what that looks like. I thought we did a really good job early in the game of attacking, but we didn't make some early offensive shots in transition. We got some going to the rim early, and then we got some really open threes that are good shots that didn't fall. And then I thought our young ladies did a really good job of making an adjustment and attacking first. And those are tight things that we've been continuing to learn. And I thought that those lessons, we continue to develop in each situation and learn from games and learn from game time situations. We're going to, keep our understanding growing throughout the course of the season, and that's what's really, really important.
I know after the last game and in the past, you talked about stacking, kind of those lessons you were just talking about. How big of a box are you stacking after this one? It's a pretty big lesson, I think, right?
Well, it was a great lesson. I thought that when we got a little bit undisciplined just in doing, we didn't box out. That's a discipline thing that we didn't do a very good job of. And then, we put ourselves in spots that we got called for fouls because we fouled them, whether it was an offensive foul or a defensive foul. And then I thought we cleaned those things up. So that's another, skill that we have to continue developing and working on. And some of it is an understanding thing. Is it just the post player's fault because it's a moving screen, or is it the perimeter kid's fault too because maybe she left a little bit early and didn't wait for the post kid, or what is it? And the bottom line is, our at that point in time, and what we kept telling our post kids later is, if that happens and it looks like it's going to be a moving screen, just get out of the way. Just don't get a foul. And those are things that you're usually told you got to stay there and you got to screen, you got to get your teammate open. And we're saying get out of the way so we don't get called for a moving screen. So those are just some things and examples of lessons that we have to continue stacking and disciplines that we have to continue working on and getting better at and giving ourselves opportunities.
Individually, nice bounce back game from Maddie. What did you see from her tonight?
Well, I thought Maddie started off and hit some shots for us, but I thought in our last game at Kansas State, I thought that Madison played great. I really did. She didn't really hit shots the way that she had been hitting some shots prior to that necessarily, but I thought she attacked and she created some really good opportunities. And tonight she ended with 8 assists, something along those lines. And so not only did she hit some shots and score it, but more importantly, she really facilitated our offense at a really high level. I thought she defended at a really high level too. I think she, really established our defense early when JJ's not in the game. When JJ's in the game, she's kind of our kid who's helping and protecting. So that's hard for kids to make that big of an adjustment, and I think she's learning and she's doing a great job of it.
Coach, obviously, last couple games, you said Maddie's shot was kind of off, but obviously she can shoot the ball.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, as a coach, how much of a believer or non-believer are you in that, those things just kind of go in streaks sometimes, or is there more to it?
Well, I think she's someone who plays a lot of minutes. I think that she was also a little bit banged up and really toughed it out on the road, and that certainly plays a factor in all of it too. I think she's getting a little bit healthier and felt a little bit better, and that's really, really important. And so I just think she's someone who we count on for a great, great deal on both ends of the court, and we have a lot of confidence in her.
Coach, how valuable is it to have a player like JJ who can just kind of sneak in and get a bucket whenever you need it?
But she's so explosive, on both ends of the court, and she made a play in the zone. We missed 2 shots, I think, and then she made a play in traffic that just not many players can make. She caught it in traffic, and then she really didn't have a clean, good or easy shot for a lot of players. She just kind of elevated over the top of all the post kids and shot it right kind of in the middle of the lane. I thought, man, that's really good offense because she has the ability to do some really special things. So she does. She can make plays on both ends and just make some things happen that are really special. I think she's someone who, is really taking off in a lot of different ways, and it's really, really fun to coach. Really coachable young lady.
26 points in the third quarter.
Yep.
You built the lead early on in the game more with defense, but it seemed like when you kind of up that advantage to a comfortable margin. A lot of it was offense. What worked early in the second half offensively?
Well, early in the second half, we used some wing ball screens early, and I think they were calling it blitz, but they were doubling those, and I thought Maddie stretched them and made some plays, and we got some things going to the basket at that point in time. And then, even if we didn't get it at the rim, we got some really wide open opportunities. And then when we have an opportunity to get stops, we can push and attack. Then they switched how they were guarding the ball screen a little bit, and our kids had an awareness. It was between, I think at that point in time, Maddie and Tavi, and so the first few times they doubled it, and she stretched it and made things happen. The next time they switched it, and we got it inside to Tavi, and Tavi scored it. So I just think our understanding of how to attack was really good at that point in time, and so we were able to get the ball, around the rim in different ways at that point.
Did you have Tavi leading the scout this last days?
No, that's kind of a challenging situation, and certainly just wanted her to have some fun and be comfortable and play, and I thought she played really, really well.
2 straight wins now, Coach, for you in the Big 12. Now you got Baylor coming in on Sunday. Does that momentum, do you have momentum, and does that help you, do you think, coming into Sunday?
Well, Baylor's playing really well. They're at the top of the league at this point in time, and they're really physical, and they are really good defensively, and, they can score in so many different ways, and they can really shoot the ball well. So, it's a great challenge for us, and we're looking forward to getting back. We finally have a day off, so that finally feels good for our kids. They're pretty excited about that. A day off, they're back in classes. They can kind of be a normal student at that point in time, but get their bodies recovered a little bit and then get back at it again.
In terms of Tabby, do you have to make sure in a game like this that she's not too juiced up and kind of level-headed, but obviously still focused? And you had to call on her a lot there with Kylie in early foul trouble.
We did have to call on Tavi a lot, and I thought Tavi's approach to this whole thing was really, really solid. I thought she just did a great job, and didn't make it about her, didn't make it about anything other than this is what we need to do, this is how we have to play, this is how we have to guard this action. We got to box out, we got to rebound, got to demand the ball as best we can inside, and so I thought she approached it with a very level head.
Coach, when you look up there at the scoreboard at the end of the first quarter, they've got 4 points. Obviously, just, the odds, they're going to score eventually, start scoring. But you don't want to change what's working for you at that point, but they're going to start scoring, go on a run.
Right.
So, how do you kind of handle that as a coach and kind of take the reality with the results, I guess?
Well, I think at that point in time, I thought TCU played really, really hard and made some adjustments and really went to the flash of the offensive glass extremely hard. I also thought we put ourselves in some situations where we got some early fouls on different things, and they took advantage of that and got to the free throw line. And so what I give our players a lot of credit, because basketball is a game of runs, it's a game of spurts, and that's not going to be the way it is the whole time, or more than likely it's not. And so at that point in time, it's kind of how do you weather the storm? And so, and I think, again, to our players' credit, the way they came out in the third quarter, I think, spoke volumes of our ability to play disciplined and make adjustments. And, I don't know if they shot, how many free throws they shot in the third quarter at that point in time, but they got there 2 times, so they got to the free throw line 13 times. No, I'm sorry, no time. They didn't get there at all. They got there 13 times in the second quarter, and they didn't get there in the third quarter. So that ability for our players to make that adjustment was really crucial for us, and something that I'm really proud of our young ladies for doing that.
Going back to Tavi for a second, she was the kind of the one transfer who you brought in who had Big 12 experience, or power level experience. How big is that for a team that WVU had some, or the girls who stayed had some of that experience? But a lot of the girls who you brought in, they didn't have that experience, and for her to have the outside kind of knowledge as well of that, how big was her kind of being brought in?
Well, I think it certainly helps because she understands the team. She understands the physicality of all of it. Kylie's someone kind of in that same boat, different conference, different styles, but at the same time has been through the rigors of it and the physicality of it. And I think they both, have performed at a really high level. And the good news is they're kind of 2 players that have really helped build each other up and really encourage each other at a very high level. And, I think it's good to see that they have their abilities, their games are a little bit different, but they're both growing and they're both learning. And I thought Isis at the end of the game made one of the best defensive plays that she's made all year in the post. She went back and tipped a pass into the post, and so I think our awareness is getting a lot better, and that's really important.
All right, thanks everyone.
Okay, thank you.